Fat makes you fat. Welcome to the Maltese Vegan. So I'm getting ready to go to a focus group. Yeah, it's gonna be about weight loss program and what are the barriers to going to these weight loss programs. This person also referred to the fact that you eat a plate of pasta and after a few minutes you're still hungry. That's probably because you did not eat enough, not because you were eating pasta, carbs, instead of meat. Obviously, as you can understand, being a gym goer, 12 hours I think he was mentioning a day, I'm not sure. I know he mentioned a crazy amount of hours in the gym. He said that because he needed this for his own personal needs. Let's say, I won't go into detail, but that's the reason why he's probably fit, not because he's eating meat. Otherwise, you'd be like the other three who were obese. And one of them, in fact, also told me, no, you actually need meat, because if I, and he was speaking about himself, had to eat rice and beans, which I was suggesting as the cheapest form of food, then he said, with just a bit of rice, it kills him. I asked him, what do you mean by kills him? He said, it actually makes him fat. It's the small bowl of rice makes him fat, but the meat, the steak which I mentioned, that's good. That you actually need that. This, by the way, is coming from the self-proclaimed vegetarian, eating meat. That's a vegetarian, right? Anyway, and he's giving me advice on how to lose weight. I didn't see him, but you saw me. So do I really need advice on how to lose weight? Shouldn't he be taking advice from me on how I keep my weight? What can you do? You really can't teach an old dog. I think that's the expression. Teaching old dogs new tricks. Not possible. Well, it is possible, but it takes much more work than a few minutes of conversation, especially when there are other factors outside where he's being told by other people that actually meat is a good thing. Yeah, that was another thing. He said, you need meat. You cannot live without meat. It's important. Meat is important. I don't understand. At one point, the same guy told me, listen, I've traveled in lots of places and I've seen that in fact it's the carbs that make you fat. And I said, yeah, but I was referring to rural Asia, remote area. Were you there? He said, I'm referring to the US, Australia, the UK. I mean, you're talking about the most obese nations in the world, and you're telling me, giving me them as examples for how healthy meat is. I just don't understand these things, and they makes me a bit nervous. But anyway, I was quite controlled, but unfortunately, it's in my nature to avoid confrontation. That's a bad thing, something I need to work on myself. And I kind of showed my frustration, but I backed out instead of actually getting into a heated discussion. Primarily also because that wasn't the aim of the focus group itself. And yeah, the what's the word? Mediator was kind of, slowing things down and changing subject on that. Damn. To add insult to injury, I just realized that the second part of this video wasn't recording at all, so, well, it doesn't exist, in other words, although it did happen. And I'm just going to try and summarize and wrap this up. The guy was saying he had problems, with weight loss programs. They never worked. He kept coming and going, and he just actually always got worse. So he loses a few pounds and gains them back, and even more than that. And then when the other guy told him that, but you should be eating, the good carbs, the low glycemic index carbs, and even though glycemic index, the inventor of glycemic index himself, apologized for actually coming up with that, because he realized that though it does make logical sense, it's actually not considering a large amount of factors, like what you're eating with that, what the antioxidant effect has on how the sugar affects you, and a whole number of those. And yes, I mean, and the other guy said, no, it still doesn't work with brown rice. It still doesn't work. Yes, obviously, because you're having carbs on top of fat. You're still consuming the fat. So whatever you do, whatever form of carbohydrates you're taking, it is going to affect you. But that's not because the carbohydrates are a problem. How can that be? How can carbs, which convert into glucose, which is the natural source, the natural, obvious and only source of energy that every single cell in your body needs, how can carbs be bad for that? The problem is that you're having carbs on top of fat. And that's one of the most important things that you must remember. It's that you must be limiting your fat. I'm not talking about limiting your calories, not at all. In fact, I'm saying eat as many as you want, carbs, in carb format. So that's vegetables, fruits, grains, seeds and nuts. They're okay, they're fat, I know, and protein, but they're not too bad. Anything else, oils, animal fat, out of the question. So I'll just end this part here. Stay tuned for the next part, and I'll put some links down below just to back up my arguments with science. Couldn't include them inside this video, otherwise it would be too long. Stay tuned.